Hello everyone and welcome to 2025. This is my kickoff video here to welcome you to the new year. I think it's going to be an incredibly exciting year. And what we have seen in 2024, I think is one of the most transformational years in a very long time, but maybe nothing compared to what's going to come. So in 2024, I went through a lot of personal, developments and transitions or professional ones. And what I realized is that we live in an age and in a period of history that is very unique. And of course, every generation thinks that, but I think for us, it's actually true. And that meant for me that I want to focus my professional life really on the things that matter most to civilization. And I think what that is something that is represented by Tesla to some extent, not because I'm just a fanboy of the company or of Elon, but just because of a random confluence of factors in history that made Tesla this thing that it is. And the reason why I think enormous things are happening right now is because of transformational technologies like artificial intelligence and robots, and a new mindset of reality engineering that is represented by Elon, but that we can take to totally new levels if we do it right. And I want to just provide you with a quick overview here, what I think is happening this year and what my focus will be this year, what I think are the most important things. And I call it this year 2025, the year of the robot. And that year of the robot is the year where we will all understand that we actually enter a new phase of human history, where the ability to influence and shape reality will get force multiplied to an extent that never happened even remotely before. And of course, the first big theme is Optimus and humanoid robots. That's what I see is going to happen this year. I think it's going to be the year where the robot revolution goes mainstream, right? Where people, Wall Street and Main Street understand this is actually happening and it's happening now, which is right now not the case, right? Right now, everyone thinks this is the future, this is fantasy. I think in 2025, we will see presentations mostly or maybe solely by Tesla that will make clear to people that Optimus 3 is coming in 2026 in a very big way. And that will be a mindset shift, because from there, once people understand what's going to happen, politicians, small, mid-sized, large business owners, they will all understand labor as we know it will go out of work. Labor will have no work anymore. The robots are going to take over. It's going to happen massively on a mass scale. Not all of that will become totally apparent in 2025. I think every year from now on to 2030, there will be a step change in recognition in the markets and in politics that, the robots are going to take over. People and nations will adjust and they will understand what they have to do. And us as humans, we will understand more and more what I'm trying to capture with my reality engineering paradigm, that humans, the role of humans will be a different role. I think a very positive and powerful role, because we will turn from workers and laborers into reality engineers, into people who plan out the future, deploy capital, robots, labor against it, and make sure it actually happens the way we want. That's the only job that cannot be replaced by robots, because it's inherently goal setting. And we do not want to outsource goal setting to AGI or robots. That would be inherently contradictory to our human purpose on this planet or in this universe. So I think we are entering the age of abundance. It will become very clear this year to a lot of people. Of course, for us as people who actually want to capitalize on that, there is alpha that we understand that very well, and that this is not mainstream right now. It will be the inflection point in 2025. The next big theme is AGI. That is, of course, connected to the robots. There will be no robots without AGI, but AGI is coming. And artificial general intelligence, what it means is that, when you talk to Grok, when you talk to ChatGPT, when you talk to, Microsoft's, what is it called? Like this assistant thing, maybe Google Gemini, who knows? There are multiple players in the space. I'm very confident that we will see another behind the scenes, another 10x capability expansion, and that will push us over that critical, let's say 110 IQ level or something of AGI. We also saw the advancements of OpenAI, that these things now become much more accurate and scientifically sound, that will trickle down and spread. And I think that is very important. It's funny that AGI has been this amazingly important thing that everyone thought is somewhere in the future. Now it's happening and no one cares anymore. But that's the sign it's actually happening. So AGI for me means you have an assistant that you can ask questions, and they answer these questions on a quality level that is the equivalent of a low-level professional, right? So for example, talking about stocks, if you want to have a technical analysis of Tesla stock and you enter into Grok, please provide me with a technical analysis of Tesla stock right now. The analysis you get is not that bad. It's not useful yet. It's too crude, but it's not bad. They say pretty accurate things. Sometimes they mess up some numbers, but it's getting very good. So you can understand if that 10x's, you're getting over this critical level of having a, let's say, base trained assistant that does a little technical analysis that you have to, watch over and fine tune a little bit. But if you get to that level, imagine what that means. It's crazy. So AGI, this is the year of AGI, and we have to understand that behind the scenes, artificial intelligence is still evolving on a very exponential scale. So I think the rumors that this evolution has stopped they are false. So that will just accelerate also the job replacement, but we know that long term, I think in 2025, this will be the inflection year where people understand, oh my God, we are officially in the age of AGI. The next theme, this is a little more tactical for Tesla shareholders, but it's actually more strategic for nations and for everyone than most people think, is the year of the Robotaxi. Even though I was a little skeptical if Tesla can keep the timeline, I think if we get to version 14 this year, so the next version beyond version 13 is already impressive. And for everyone who's a fanboy or a Robotaxi geek, it's mind-boggling. For everyone who's a cynic and just a user, it's not that impressive yet. As long as it makes any mistake, it's not impressive. But everyone who watches on, looks at the trajectory of the autonomous driving revolution, version 13, for me, what it does, it's just a validation point that Tesla remains on the right trajectory to launch it this year. So we need one or two more points on that trajectory to get there. But so far, version 13 has delivered. We need another version 14, maybe in version 15. We need some remote intervention teams in Austin, in Phoenix, in LA, wherever they want to launch, in San Francisco or Silicon Valley. So Tesla needs to build out that. We know they are doing it. We know it's coming. I think I will get to another point in a second, but Elon's involvement in politics, in the US politics, with his absolutely bold and ingenious move to back Trump, and you guys have to understand how bold that was and how smart. He placed a huge asymmetric bet, right? If Kamala would have won, that would have been really bad for him and for us as Tesla shareholders. And so that was a bet that looked risky from the outside, but of course the payoff is hugely asymmetric, because Elon knew that once he gets really involved with the army of us and everyone behind him, that the odds of Trump winning would go through the roof, and that if Trump wins, the benefits on Tesla and him would be vastly exponential. Because Robotaxi, Elon is now more or less in control of federal regulations when it comes to that. If you think he's not, then you don't understand how it works. He is hugely influential on this stuff now. And that is a huge de-risking factor. So the Trump rally, I think, is more than justified on a Robotaxi level. I think also on an Optimus level, even though that's not on the agenda right now, but in 3 years or so, you will see why it was so important that Elon controls a big chunk of US politics now, because Optimus will be 10 times bigger in terms of US government importance than Robotaxi. And of course, part of that Robotaxi launch that I think is going to happen in Q3, I think a little later than people think. This is all very, very complicated things that they have to solve. But I think in Q3, we might see the first pilots. And I think 1 year after that, we might get to scale. Let's see. But I think the odds are on our side if you bet on that trajectory. Now, Super USA, I talked about this already a little bit. I think
years from now,
this is so exciting,
some of them may look back
is because,
and ask themselves,
the United States is now in a surprisingly strong position to remain the world superpower for the rest of the 21st century. Let's not be too, predictive here because the century will be insane. But for the next 20 years or something, I think Trump's win is huge, especially after seeing what he does, that he actually brings in people like Robert, F. Kennedy, Elon, of course, Doge, that he brings in the other guys we see, Tulsi Gabbard and so on. So he's really on track to do something very historically unique, that he cleans up the swamp. And I know it's like a, kind of a revolutionary talking point, the swamp, but I'm also going into European politics in a second. We have to understand how bad the swamp is and what the swamp actually is. The swamp is not some grand cathedral, conspiracy theory to keep all of us oppressed. It's just a cartel of mediocrity. It's a cartel of people who never did anything in their lives, who are totally decadent and who are not very smart, and who are just good in clinging to power and playing unfair. And once a country is captive to these kinds of people, which most countries are, but the US got really bad in the European Union and Germany, these people make terrible decisions that they think benefit them short term, but often, have devastating consequences, like global wars and all kinds of stuff, printing money out of pure stupidity, ramping up idiotic initiatives like DEI and wokeness, and just putting more and more regulations in, completely mindless regulations, not even socialist, they're just mindless. And the problem is these people cannot be course corrected because they're not very smart, and therefore they're entitled and arrogant. And that creates a huge problem for countries, especially for Western democracies. And to do something about these people is very difficult because you cannot reform them from the inside because they don't have any reasonable motivations or thinking structures. So you can't reason with them, and you can't do anything with them. The only thing you can do is beat them. Now, because they're forming cartels in the Democratic and Republican Party, they make sure you can't beat them because you can't penetrate that wall of mediocrity. And what Trump did is something very unique. I mean, RFK tried it and he failed to do it independently. Bernie Sanders tried it and he failed. Whatever you think of Bernie's, ideas, he was also someone who doesn't play along and is not that dumb. So he got blocked, and Trump was just the attempt that worked. That's why everyone tried to eliminate him, of these people. And that is why it's so revolutionary that he actually won. Whatever you think of Trump's personality, it was necessary to win. And it's also so revolutionary that he won the second time, or the third attempt. He won the first attempt, which was very important, that he was president in 2016. He learned his lessons, how the swamp eats him alive once he's president. He had some victories, but he got more or less crushed by the swamp. But the swamp also taught him his lessons. I think it was good that he didn't become president in 2020 because it made it, created more suspense in the whole thing and made him even more determined. And now I think we are in a very unique point in history where the US has the opportunity to really clean house. And if a country like the United States cleans itself up from the inside and puts real excellence and real high IQ people in positions of power, like Elon, like Vivek. I know a lot of you have now Vivek issues, but I think it doesn't matter. The details don't matter, and H1B and all these things. In the end, it matters to you have high IQ people who work together as a team, who have mutual accountability, and who are just smart enough to do big things. And do you have a certain diversity in there? You have Tulsi, you have RFK, you have Elon, you have Trump, you have Vivek, you have JD Vance. So you have enough different opinions there And I think it's going to be huge for the United States. And I'm not the only one. Everyone kind of thinks that. So the next big theme, and I'm then nearly done, is Germany and Europe. And I had a video on that actually got a lot of attention. That was interesting. I think even though a lot of you guys here in the United States think whatever, who cares about Germany, and all these Europeans are total failures and not getting their stuff together, I think, first of all, we should always have a lot of respect for Elon's decisions, because Elon knows a lot of things and Elon is smart. And why is Elon getting so involved in German politics now? If you missed it, he's getting very involved. It's becoming one of his major focus points right now. He just agreed on an interview with the chancellor candidate of Germany, of the kind of libertarian, kind of more revolutionary party that is, the second strongest right now, the AfD. And why is he doing that? Elon is not a dummy, and he doesn't just act on emotions. He's doing it for a reason. And that reason is that, similar to the asymmetric huge bet on Trump and the United States, Elon's brain, analyzed the situation, understood, look, Germany is the key to Europe. Germany right now offers an asymmetric opportunity of cleaning house, the exact same way we did it here in the United States. You can clean house in Germany because this enormous mediocrity cartel that sits on top of Germany, these old parties and all the old media outlets, mainstream media, similar to the United States, but even worse, they are now ready for disruption, and Elon can smell it. He can say, like, this is the right point in time. I think Elon is actually a genius in doing what the VCs call identifying the wave. If you're a surfer, if there's a big wave, if you're too early, you get crushed by the wave. If you're too late, you're missing the wave. It's all about timing. Now's the time to really turn over Germany and liberate this place. And I think Elon gets it. And I think everyone will be surprised how powerful that is. Right. So my German friends that tell me, oh, it's like whatever, maybe he can push the AfD to 25%, and maybe the CDU also at 25%. Maybe the AfD becomes strongest party with 26%. Even then, they say nothing can happen because there's the Brandmauer, right, the firewall. They're not going to do a coalition with the AfD, which is the big party that could change everything in Germany, make it basically open it to the world, make it productive again, introduce higher IQ people into politics, and just do reasonable things to get the German economy up and running. But I think everyone underestimates what it means if the AfD comes out strongest, which is, I think, more likely than not. And even if they come in at 24%, the CDU at 28%, it's still a revolution. Even if these people decide to block the AfD and not form a coalition, the CDU, which I think is a 50-50 chance, despite what they're saying. I think that there is a blue-black coalition is very possible in Germany, but the CDU is trapped, right? The biggest party right now, opposition party, because if they don't form a coalition with the AfD, they will be destroyed, right? This will be an unstable government with the Greens or the SPD, and they will go out of business, and then the AfD will absolutely crush everyone. Or they form a coalition now. Possible. Who knows? It doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things. This system is now destabilized, the system of mediocrity cartel behavior. And in addition to they are always the two big power pillars. One is politics and the other is media, and both are being crushed. Politics is being crushed by the AfD, media is being crushed by X and Elon, and great new influencers in Germany who really stand up and become big, like Naomi Seibt and some other people on X. So this whole system is ripe for disruption now, and it's going to happen. And Elon has huge influence, and even these not so smart politicians in Germany understand it. They are panicking. They understand. They talk about Elon a lot, the president of Germany, and they all say, oh, how terrible. So why is it so important? Because Europe and Germany are much more important than most Americans actually think. And maybe not you guys, but a lot of people think, oh, whatever, small countries don't mean much. First of all, Europe is not that small. It's bigger than the United States. It's a huge market, but it has also enormous potential. because it is full of people who are actually pretty smart. The problem is these people are not in charge. That's just the general population. And when you think about Robotaxi, when you think about Optimus, which country on earth, what are the main countries, for example, who will benefit most from a robot revolution? It's Germany. It is South Korea and Japan. These are my three favorites in the robot revolution. But Germany is culturally much closer to the United States and also to Elon's way of operating. Japan is very hard to penetrate. No one understands what's going on in Japan. I'm a big Japan fan, but try to do business there. It's very hard to understand the hell is going on. I think Germany is much easier to understand for Elon and Americans. And these countries like Germany are basically an enormous manufacturing super powerhouse with the world's best IP that is being unutilized right now. You know, all the German ingenuity in machine engineering and all these things is basically on hold because of stupid politicians, disastrous energy policy, but also more strategically because of labor shortages. Skilled labor in Germany is a big problem because they need much more labor than they have. And they are too expensive, right? So robots solve the entire problem. They will have solved it in the next 5 years. So Germany could be Tesla's perfect lab for the world to actually show the true impact on a $4 trillion economy or $3.5 trillion economy of robots. And there are many, many other cultural things that are very good in Germany for a robot revolution. So that's a long topic. We'll do many videos on that, on the robot revolution, which countries benefit the most, and how Tesla can implement large-scale, robot revolutions in what markets and regions. So I think Germany will be an important part of 2025 in the global strategy for the robots and for Tesla, and it's going to be very exciting. That leads me to the last part that I want to discuss for 2025. I presented to you guys my theory of reality engineering. I think all jobs go away sooner or later. I think much sooner than people think. Even if you only cut out 10% of all jobs in all major verticals by 2030, there will be no jobs anymore effectively filled, right? Because no one will ever get hired again. And I think that's a good thing. It pushes us as humans into our true purpose. And our true purpose is to engineer the future, nothing else. We are on this earth or in this universe to imagine more desirable futures and engage in the engineering of these new realities. That is our only true purpose. That's the only thing that truly makes us happy as societies, to see that progress maximized. And through robots and AI, we will get force multiplied to an extent that's crazy. And all labor, as I see it today or in the past, was just maintenance jobs, right? We were just basically maintaining something. And that's not worth the human spirit. I think the human spirit should be pioneering in creating new worlds. And with new worlds, I just mean concrete new things you can imagine and construct them, like, self-driving cars and, distributed transportation, or AGI and these things. So I think in the future, each of us will be a reality engineer, and that future starts today. And I presented these 4 levels of reality engineering, or 4 stages that we can go through as people to get really good at that, test it out, your abilities. And the first one, level 1, is to just predict the future accurately. First, you start with understanding reality and predict it accurately. And the best way to get really good at that is stock trading, especially Tesla stock trading. Why? Because it's a ruthless mechanism to hold you accountable. Right? If you talk politics or something, everyone thinks they can talk politics or global warming or something. There's no accountability, because you can make any kind of statement, you can be wrong, and you can still insist you weren't wrong. With stocks, you are being forced to admit if you're wrong or not. I know it. I get forced every second day to admit I was a little wrong, but every other day I'm proven to be right. So on stocks, because you have to translate it into action, and you have to translate it into a price, and you have to translate it into investment activity, and you have a very accountable ledger on what's going to happen to your money, it holds you very accountable. And so I think that's the first step of reality engineering. I think that's my objective in 2025, is to build a little team of reality engineers with me. I can tell you, how I think this is going to look like. And I invite every one of you to join this effort. Here's the reasoning. I think I want to build a little community here, ideally of people who have more than 1,000 Tesla shares core position, roughly, $400,000 in Tesla, and who understand these new paradigms or agree with me and want to make trading and investing in Tesla and related stocks or similar stocks a full-time job, because they understand if we are on a trajectory here with Tesla, with a $10,900 price target in 2030, that gives you 80% CAGR per year. If you then build tactical trading around that and get good at it, to understand, wait a moment, deliveries look bad now, it dropped too much, what's happening, this is a good entry point for a tactical position on top of the core position. The bottom line is, if you're roughly at 1,000 shares, one correct decision one day makes you $10,000 to $100,000. 100,000 only in extreme cases, but it can easily make you $10,000 or $20,000, right? And that size. If you have 10,000 shares, it makes you $100,000. Now, what is a correct decision? It's a week by week decision. It's saying, wait, we think that Tesla is actually dropping too much. We think the German election is actually going to go in a certain direction. We think there's a Trump, decision that's going to happen. We think there's a macro situation in the market, in the NASDAQ, in the US markets, that will impact Tesla stock positively or negatively. We have a series of catalysts, fundamental catalysts that are coming. If we trade them right, every correct move we make, because of this community, because we're getting together and having a discussion here, will make us tens of thousands of dollars. That's why it's worth doing and holding each other accountable. So my theory here is, why don't we just get together with a bunch of people, and ideally we, bring in different specialties. So someone who's really good in technical analysis, ideally of Tesla or in general, and applies it to Tesla. What do we see technically on the charts and other technical components, right? Volume, options, whatever. Someone who's really good in understanding the markets and macro and keeps an eye on that. And even if it's just means, oh, look, the Fed is going to make an announcement, we have to be a little cautious on Wednesday afternoon, right? Because who knows what's happening. And then, of course, fundamentals, someone who's really good in understanding the catalysts and all the things that are happening on Tesla. When is it likely that the Optimus announcement comes? When is it like, what deliveries look like, even though people are always wrong? And if we combine these three specialties intelligently, the art of the game here is strong Tesla core position and trading around this core position to generate alpha over a full Tesla position, by using these three angles plus geopolitics on top of it, to really make sure we are better than the market in understanding what's happening in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. Having in mind, of course, long-term strategies of Tesla. So that's how I see in 2025 how all of us actually win. And then we can share our insights, of course, here on YouTube, on X, with everyone. This is just to keep it productive. So if you have interest in that, just hit me up. I think that's the goal for 2025, to become really good level 1 reality engineers by predicting stock prices much better than anyone else, especially stocks that are reality engineering stocks like Tesla that we understand deeply. And from there, it's going to be, I think, a fun year. So I think I'm super excited about everything that's going to come this year. I hope you guys keep having fun with, the ideas I'm sharing here. I hope you keep very engaged. I need your feedback. It's incredibly helpful to get your ideas and everything. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome. So see you very soon.